वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। We are presently covering a very important portion of the Bhagavad Geeta, especially from bhakti point of view, though even from the point of view of jnana, there is great significance in this portion. What is this portion? It is here that Lord Sri Krishna explicitly says he is an incarnation of the Supreme Ishvara Tattva. Jagat, Jiva and Ishvara are three principles that are present in this entire creation. Countless jivas, individual souls, all of us are going through sukha and dukkha. We do karma, we get our karma phala. We are the jiva tattvas. And this entire platform, the universe, provides to us the facility, the convenience, all the necessary infrastructure to do things and to enjoy or suffer the results of those actions. So here are simply countless jiva tattvas, and here is this jagat, but governing both jagat and jiva is Ishvara. Ishvara is the ruling principle. The very verbal root ish means to rule, to govern, to oversee. One of the Upanishads begins with the word Isha. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. And there Isha means Ishvarena. By God, all this is to be seen as pervaded. There is not an iota of space where there is no God, where God's rule does not prevail. Isha idam sarvam vasyam Ishvarena. Ishvara thus is the God principle. Though in some traditions, the moment you use the word Ishvara, they take it as implying Shiva. For Jagadishvara, Brahadishvara, Someshvara, and so on are very commonly names of Shiva in well-known temples. That is a usage. Otherwise, in the basic philosophy, Ishvara is God principle. This God may show himself as Vishnu or Shiva or Devi or Ganesha in countless forms. One God, many forms. It's not exactly polytheism. That is a misunderstanding of Sanatana Dharma. It is one God, but simultaneously, this one God can express himself in many forms, and among those forms, there can even be hierarchy. Someone is the Father, someone is the Son, and so on. Thus, it is not exactly polytheism, but it is one God in many forms. And the liberal outlooks of Hinduism are such that even saints and sages can be looked at as a special expression of God. In the last class, we saw 5 and 6 verses in chapter 4, where the nature of this incarnation, God taking a form, is God's incarnation. In Sanskrit, we use the word avatar, God coming down. For what? For our uddhara, for raising us, lifting us to the higher and finally the liberated consciousness. Incarnation thus means God taking a form, but when you use the word reincarnation, by usage, it refers to a jiva getting a body again and again. In the context of the jiva's birth is not referred to generally as incarnation, though a jiva being born to a mother in some form also is taking a body. But these are all forms of usage. Incarnation is a word used for God, avatar. Reincarnation, rebirth, refers to the story of a jiva tattva, an individual soul. So 5 and 6 talked about how Sri Krishna has come again and again, and 6 actually throws light on how he does it all through Maya. He says, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. Why Atma Maya? This Maya is not borrowed from anywhere. This magical power with which God comes down on the earth as Rama or as Krishna, this magical power that enables him to do so is his own, completely under his own control. Atma Mayaya. And the word Maya is especially important there, which means it is a magical appearance, not really. For that matter, every jiva being born also is illusory. Nobody is born, nobody dies. But why call God's taking a form magical or illusory? Right at the time of appearing in a certain form, God knows completely that this is Maya. Whereas jivas, individual souls, take everything to be real. Therefore, in Shankara's commentary, he clarifies, Na paramartataha kintu mayaya lokavat. Loka of Sanskrit becomes lok in Hindi. People take it paramartavat. In their case too, it is not paramartha, but they take it as paramartha. Whereas God knows it to be only Maya. Otherwise, verse 6 made it clear, Ajaha api. God has no birth at all. Avyayatma. He doesn't admit or permit any change in him. And he is always Bhutanam Ishvara, the ruling principle. Though he appears as the son of Kausalya and the student of Vasishtha and other gurus, really he is the Ishvara above Kausalya. He is the ruling principle above Vasishtha and other rishis and munis. He uses his own prakriti Sattva, Rajas and Tamas constitute Prakriti. He uses his Prakriti, he presides over that Prakriti, and using his own power called Maya, he appears again and again. So the two verses we now take up are probably much more popular than the previous one. Ajopi sannavya atma, not all know, but yada yada hi dharmasya and then paritranaya sadhunam were popular before even the Ramayana or the Mahabharata TV series came. But after the TV series came, the verses yada yada hi dharmasya and then 8 paritranaya sadhunam became extremely popular. For every Sunday morning, when people tuned into their television in the late 80s, people had Mahabharata, and this was put at the beginning of every episode. So let's see 7 and 8, and Shankaracharya introduces these in no uncertain terms. Tatcha janma, that apparent being born on the part of the Lord, kimartham, for what purpose? Why does he come? Why does he take a form on the earth? Whenever we go somewhere, it's a purpose, for a prayojanam. As the saying goes, prayojanam anuddishya mandopi na pravartate. Even a dull-witted person doesn't do anything unless he or she has some purpose in mind. People may forget their purpose after going to another place. One goes to a mall and then seeing countless things available over there with limited money in his pocket, one may get so bewildered, one may forget why one had come to the mall and then buy something else. Alas, that's a different story. But no one goes to the mall without a purpose. It is said as we get older and older, lot of memory loss takes place. Suddenly we get up and go to another room quite fast. Other members of the family might wonder, why is he rushing there to that room? So fast we go. But after reaching that room, we ourselves may forget, why did I come here? That doesn't mean we had no purpose. We forgot our purpose. And that happens everywhere. One doesn't have to get old. But even when one is young, one joins a medical college and then forgets that one's main purpose was to become a good doctor. One gets into lots of politics in the college or matters of the town. One goes into eating and drinking and making merry. One tries to develop certain other skills. One may even try to be a singer or a dancer, etc. One day the principal may call this boy or girl, why did you join MBBS? If this is how you are spending your time. Then the boy or girl says, sorry sir, sorry madam, I will be careful now. But vasanas distract and divert sometimes meritorious students also, intelligent students also, into some other pursuit. So coming back, Lord Sri Krishna is extremely clear, and there is no question of his forgetting why he takes birth upon the earth. Kimartham kasmai prayojanaya ityartha yada yada hi dharmasya glanirbhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tada atmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Beautiful shlokas with nice poetry, wonderful choice of words, and a great thrust on the point being conveyed. I come to uplift dharma. I come to stop the rise of adharma. Whenever dharma declines, glani is declining, getting affected in a negative way, getting spoiled, getting degraded, when standards fall, yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi. And commentators draw our attention even to the name of Arjuna that Sri Krishna specially uses here. Sri Krishna himself must have used this word, or without doing injustice to his great teachings, Bhagavan Vedavyasa might have introduced this word Bharata. Bha means light. Rata means Ramate iti Rata, one who revels in light. Thus, Arjuna, you too should be like me. You must ensure that dharma is held high and adharma is not allowed to rise. Yada dharmasya glanihi bhavati, O Arjuna, tvamapi karyodyuktaha bhavitumarhasi. You must also get into action. Abhyutthanam adharmasya. In the world, we again and again feel pained to see how the immoral people, the lawbreakers, those who say one thing but do something else, are seen to rise. They seem to become prosperous. They seem to occupy powerful positions. They seem to have a good time. That is called adharmasya abhyutthanam and dharmasya glani. Sri Krishna says that is when he comes down to the earth. Of course, these major avatars take place when there is a major decline of dharma and a major rise of adharma. The example is rightly given by teachers of Bhagavad Geetā. If there is something going wrong in a village, some issue of law and order, the local police will try to handle it. If this scenario is beyond the control of local police, the district police, the state police, and even from the nation's headquarters, police may come, and if police also cannot manage, the army, the navy, the air force, the armed forces of the country can rush to that village, that town, that small place in some corner of the country. And even the president and the prime minister might come in a helicopter and review the situation. They won't come for every small thing. Something or the other goes on happening. Last 24 hours, a boy from a certain village in Uttar Pradesh has been calling me. Help us, help us. And his version so far is his wife has run away along with her 1-year-old child. This morning also, before the Gita class, he pestered me that he is searching for her everywhere. Neither his wife nor his child are seen. And I happen to know that wife. She used to be cleaning my house in Varanasi. Little girl she was. Now she is married and has a child. And now, after I told him some guidance and said to him, do this, do that, after hanging up the phone, I had a doubt whether the version of the husband is true or the husband and husband's family have done something to this girl and the child. Something criminal could have happened also. And he is cooking up a story that this wife of mine, Swamiji, whom you knew for 15 years, has vanished from my house. She did not listen to my mother, who tried to stop her. With the child in her hands, she has disappeared. And we went to Banaras and we tried to meet her parents. The parents are accusing me that I have done something. So he has his story. Who knows, in a day or two, that girl may suddenly surface somewhere with the child and she may give another story. So everywhere, in small towns, in big cities, in New York and Tokyo, and in villages of Africa or India, things happen. Nobody is spared from strange, sad, depressing things happening. 3 or 4 days ago, the granddaughter of somebody who was the chief minister of Karnataka for many years until recently, granddaughter of that famous ex-chief minister of Karnataka, hanged herself in her house in Bangalore, her husband's house, and so on. We don't know. So dharma seems to go down, adharma seems to arise. And when this rise of adharma is of huge proportions, that is how when Ram came, there was Ravana necessitating Ramavatara. When Krishna came, a number of evildoers, Shishupala or later Duryodhana, why even during the childhood of Sri Krishna, attacking him only, there were so many demons, demonesses. His own uncle Kansa was trying to kill Krishna. And in an attempt to kill Krishna, Kansa first finished a number of children born at that time because he was not sure where Krishna is born. So maybe this child is Krishna, maybe that child is Krishna. And so many children were killed by Kansa. So when Kansa, Putani, and some other Shakatasura, and later on Shishupala, then you have Duryodhana, all these evildoers in large numbers arise on the horizon, Krishna Avatara was required. Tada Atmanam Srijami Aham. I create myself in particular forms of avatars. Sri Shankaracharya says, Glanihi here means Hanihi. Dharmasya Glanihi. Dharmasya Hanihi. But Dharmasya means what? That word in 6th case is explained with the word Varnashramadi Lakshanasya. So by seeing that this is also in 6th case, Varnashramadi Lakshanasya is an adjective to Dharmasya. So that means Shankara here defines Dharma as Varnashramadi Lakshanaha. Dharmaha kaha. There are 100 definitions of Dharma, but the one given here is Dharmaha Varnashramadi Lakshanaha. If people understand their own personality, People know where they belong. People respect the way God has created them, or their own past has made them. They have to respect it. At any point of time, you and I are the products of our past conditionings. If we don't want to bring God into the picture, we are the product of our own past. During our childhood, during our school days, during our college days, and so on, maybe we labored to develop some skills. And at the age of 52, we find we have special skills in a certain area. So, for 52 years, we developed those skills. That makes our varna, that makes our ashrama, that makes our dharma, swadharma, our swadharma. Somebody like me, necessarily or unnecessarily, let me confess before you, I sometimes wonder whether I should have done this. But therefore, I am adding these adverbs, necessarily or unnecessarily. I developed the skill of communication, Kannada or Hindi, English or Sanskrit. I have developed the skill of expressing things relatively far better than many others. Recently, I heard even the second head of Chinmaya Mission made a comment about me, referring to the 2 brahmachari courses that I taught. He said about me, oh, Chidananda he was very good in Sanskrit. A comment was made by Tejomayanandaji. In fact, I must complete the reference. He made that comment about me as well as Swami Bodhatmananda. Bodhatmananda also taught 2 courses and moved on. He's in the Himalayas now. So in some context, I came to know. He made a comment that those 2 acharyas had a mastery on Sanskrit, he said. Now, in good humor, I would add, necessarily or unnecessarily. But having developed a skill in communication, in Sanskrit or English, etc., it becomes my swadharma. Now I cannot say, I will do administration, I will handle finance, or I will go to some cave and close my eyes and meditate. I should neither say, nor will I be able to do it. If I go to a cave and want to become like some Bhagavan Nityananda of Ganeshpuri, meditating all the time, etc., I won't be able to do it. For the training I have given to myself makes me suited for being a teacher. So Varna and Ashrama, Varnyate iti Varnaha. Varnyate anena iti Varnaha. Literally, Varna means description. Therefore, one's education should help one find out what one's Varna is. And one's honest introspection should help one understand what one's Varna is. All right, making the long story short, if in a society large numbers are aware what that area is, where they can make maximum contribution to the society, and for heaven's sake, stay in that area without being tempted, maybe for more money or name or fame or out of some fancy. If they get tempted to live in another way, to pursue something else, to try to contribute to the society in some other area where they are not really good, alas, then dharma will decline. Dharma will decline. Adharma will arise. So Varna and Ashrama, student life, brahmacharya, grahastha ashrama, householder's life, semi-retired vanaprastha-ashrama, and sannyasa, complete renunciation, are the ashramas. And Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, as you know, are the varnas. And therefore you get 4 into 4, 16 combinations. 16 combinations. Somebody could be a Kshatriya and a sannyasi. Someone else could be a Vaishya, but a vanaprasthi. All combinations. You have A, B, C, D, 4 varnas on one hand, and Brahmana, Kshatriya, 4 varnas are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and ashramas. 1, 2, 3, 4. Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. So, A1, A2, A3, A4, B1, B2, B3, B4, C1, C2, C3, C4, D1, D2, D3, D4. 16 combinations. For heaven's sake, you must find out where you belong and be true to it. When you discover where you belong and you stay true to it, give your best being where you are, then necessary transformation, necessary inner changes will take place. You will get the necessary vairagya to gracefully leave behind an inferior swadharma to a superior swadharma. You will become Sattvic. Or if you were Tamasic, it's through self-understanding that one can truly change. Without understanding oneself, merely by deciding to change, merely by reading some Robin Sharma or Stephen Covey or somebody self-help books. These self-help books are interesting, but one big problem with them is they go on and on describing how you should be. And they won't tell you how that change from what you are over to how you should be can take place. They give some tips, but they're not adequate. But they go gaga with the description of how you should be. Robin Sharma would write the book 5 a.m. Club. You should get up at 5 a.m. and then 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of study, and do this, do that. And then he will use wonderful expressions. People, if it were food, their mouth would water. Since it is ideas, they get excited. Yes, this is what I want to become. He would do expressions like, you do this, become member of 5 a.m. club, do all this. Then you will come out with world-class performance. He's fond of that expression. You will no more be mediocre. You will no more be average. Excellence will be the word that will describe whatever you do. You will be of international class, etc. Blah, blah. Description. But then a little bit he says willpower, and somewhere he may say you should understand what is blocking you. That is downplayed. That's the problem with self-help books. Whereas on the other extreme, books of pure wisdom, books by someone like Vimala Thakur, they are on the scale of wisdom way higher than Covey or Robin Sharma and many others. Vimala Thakur's books neither are known widely nor sell widely. Most people won't be able to understand, or most people won't be excited about it, because she goes on and on throwing light on how the human mind works, how prejudices are formed, how limiting beliefs, our own thought makes us feel we cannot do. She throws light on root causes. If you understand, really it is a thought. It is a thought that held me back. If this thought were not to be, I would have gone ahead and done the job. So, what are called conditionings. So, Varnashrama is a powerful concept. In knowing not the pure self, the liberated, ever-free, Nitya Mukta, Nitya Shuddha, Nitya, there's a long expression. Not that pure self, but the way you are in terms of the personality. Are you an early riser? Are you a late riser? Are you a hasty person or are you a steady, slow-going person? Are you an 11th hour person or are you somebody who likes to do things well in advance and then relax a little? You must know. You must know your fears. You must know your, your very, very chosen, your preferences, what you go out of your way to safeguard about your image and so on. If you know them, then you will then change. So Shankara saying in that good old time, Varnashrama is another word for dharma, is highly significant. Varnashrama is connected to knowing the self, knowing your own personality, not to live in some dreamy, fanciful world. Somebody told you that you look like Dharmendra, the famous actor. It went into your head. You started dancing that day. Even if you look like Dharmendra, that man did not say you have all the skills or talents of Dharmendra. Just a little bit of resemblance. But it went into your head. You went and bought a new shirt and went around trying to impress people. So that is living in the world of fancies, imaginations. Varnashrama dharma is when one understands how one is actually made, fact, actuality, and operates in that. And it should suffice to say that lack of understanding of Varnashrama is the main cause for adharma. Praninam abhyudaya nishreyasa sadhanasya bhavati bharata. Please note, abhyudaya nishreyasa sadhanasya again is in the 6th case singular. Shashti vibhakti ekavachana. Therefore, it is an adjective to dharmasya. In the original shloka, the word in the first half that has 6th case singular is dharmasya. Dharmasya is further explained as abhyudaya nishreyasa sadhanasya. Dharmaha kaha abhyudaya nishreyasa sadhanam. So, dharma is the means to gain abhyudaya, to be efficient, to be effective, to be successful, to solve problems, to tackle issues, and thereby arrive at certain prosperity, certain social status in a right way. That is abhyudaya. So in a way, in worldly language, it is, prosperity. Abhyudaya is prosperity. But in a spiritual language, where the whole attention is to the inside of us, what abhyudaya means is we are clear, we are free of conflict, we are very aware of our duties, we are living in enhanced awareness. That is abhyudaya. And what is nishreyasa? That is moksha. Nishreyasa is the culmination of all this. Free of conflict, not in a relative sense, but absolutely. If you know you are Brahma, what conflict can ever touch you? If you know you are Satchidananda, what fear can be in you? Therefore, total erasure of negativities is Nishreyasa. Abhyudaya is a high degree of absence of negativities. That will show in your performance, that will show in your relationship, that will show in the energy level of your daily life. If you have arrived at Abhyudaya, it's not that you make money, etc. Those are external things. You may, God bless you, or you become a popular person, etc. in whatever field, that's all okay. But from a spiritual point of view, from the time you are up in the morning till you go to bed again at night, you have certain sattvic energy which makes you take one by one and keep promises. These self-help authors describe those very well. Robin Sharma would say, talking about success, you want to be truly successful? Do difficult things first, he would say. But a person with low energy, he doesn't have energy or inspiration even to do easy things. He postpones even easy things. And this self-help motivating author says, do difficult things first. Okay? So that shows they can't go to root causes. It is true that if you have the energy, enthusiasm, motivation, you have certain sattvic energy, you have a certain freshness, you have no headache, no chest pain, then you'll be able to do difficult things first and easy things later. But a lot of people who are not efficient have medical problems. They have headache, they have stomach pain, they have problem in their muscle movements. Some of them become addicts, therefore, to coffee, to tea, not to mention drugs and alcohol. They have medical problems, which means physical problems as well as mental problems. And if those people with physical and mental problems, they're sick people, they read a simple self-help book, they won't go far. Because the self-help book would say, we'll give you the secret of success. Finish what you have begun. So for 2 minutes you are excited. Wow, this is true. Today itself I'll start. Whatever I have begun, I will finish. But in 2 minutes, you leave alone finishing what you have begun. You have no energy, no enthusiasm, and you physically have symptoms of being unwell. Suddenly leg pains. Suddenly the whole world looks so cruel. Suddenly memories of somebody who deceived you rise in you and you say, then all that you read in those self-help books takes a backseat. Therefore, Abhyudaya is not much to do with external fame, name, wealth, etc., but an internal condition where thanks to dharma palana, thanks to a number of things, thanks to satsanga, something happens and first the symptoms are within you. You don't have that tardiness, you don't have that back pain, or even if there is back pain, there is some energy which is way higher than the back pain. In spite of the back pain, you will be doing things. There are people who have physical issues, but the energy inside helps them not mind those physical issues and they work and finish things. So Abhyudaya, let me go short now on it. Abhyudaya is primarily an inner growth in terms of Chitta Shuddhi. If you have Chitta Shuddhi, everything will fall in place. If you don't have Chitta Shuddhi, attend any number of self-development courses, weekend crash courses on how to be effective, how to be efficient, how to be a good leader, how to be a good communicator, all that will bring some cosmetic, superficial change in you. Deep inside you, you are like before. Abhyudaya is inside, a lot of negativities are gone. Lot of factors, psychological factors, which hold you back from taking the leap are gone. Abhyudaya Nishreyasa, for both of them, Abhyudaya Nishreyasa Yoho Sadhanam Dharmaha Yada Tasya Glanirbhavati. And Abhyuthanam, Udbhavaha, Ut itself means above, coming up of Adharma. Adharma is Varnashrama Sankara, as the first chapter of Gita had used. Stri Shudushta Sukhaunteya Jayate Varna Sankara. Sankaro Narakayaiva Kulagnanam Kulasyacha Patanti Pitaro Hesham Lukta Pindo Daka Kriya, and so on. The word Sankara was used. It's confusion. People who should be doing this are doing something else. People who are doing that should not be doing this. All kinds of confusion. And that would be adharma. In the same way, if abhyudaya nishreyasa are dharma, what is adharma? Increased impurities in the mind. Increased cluttering of the mind. Nishreyasa, moksha is uncluttered. Swami Chinmayananji once said, describing, which is a description with some limitations, but these descriptions have a place. But descriptions without a prescription for how to change will have limited use. Description, how good health is, after all, who is a liberated person? A liberated person is he, or it could be she also, he who takes bath when he takes bath, who eats breakfast when he eats breakfast, who sings when he sings, who walks when he walks. In other words, whatever he is doing, his mind is over there only. Whereas bound people, when they are taking bath, they are thinking of what the breakfast could be. During breakfast, they are worried about something that may come up in the office today, and they don't even know what they are eating. Suddenly they find the plate is empty. So that is called cluttered mind. A mind which has unnecessary stuff coming up at unnecessary or unwarranted, improper time. That would be adharma. If a large number of people have such a cluttered mind, distracted mind, the society also will go down. Adharmasya abhyuthanam tada atmanam srijami. We read the second verse also. Paritranaya sadhuna. If you ever need to clear your throat while chanting Gita shloka, be careful. Paritranaya sadhuna, then you clear your throat. Vinashaya cha dushkratam. Otherwise, as a brahmacharini studying under me in 92, said in a Sanskrit class, I asked her to read the shloka. Paritranaya, and she cleared her throat. Sadhunam vinashaya, she read. Ayyo, sadhunam vinashaya. Lord takes avatara, sadhunam vinashaya, to kill sadhus. Shantam papam, shantam papam. Don't read a shloka like that. Paritranaya sadhunam. Give a break if you like. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Yuge yuge means again and again, in every period of time, large periods of time. But rather than being literal about yuga, What it means is varam varam, again and again. That means God's incarnations can never be understood to be over. Don't say, one Kalki will come after that. No, no one will come. God will stop because Dashavatara only. Kalki is last. After that, God also leaves the earth without caring for it anymore. No. Yuge, yuge. I will always be. From the time the creation took place till the time creation dissolves, God stands by that creation. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Kimartham? Why does the Supreme God come on the earth? Paritranaya means parirakshanaya. Adi Shankara says, Sadhunam, who are sadhus? Sadhus are not those who wear some special clothes, some special nama or special danda they hold. That is all secondary. Yeah, of course, common people, they go to Himalayas, they go someplace, and if somebody is wearing some orange dress, he's a sadhu, let us give him some bhiksha, let us give him some clothes. Well, that's fine. That is all right for most purposes. But here, Gita is not about dress or external marks. What makes somebody a true sadhu? Shankara clarifies, Sanmargasthana. Sadhuhu Sanmargastaha. Sanmarge tishtati iti sadhuhu. That means not the dress or not how he appears in front of others, but I would say more importantly, in his private life. Before he comes out of his kutia, of his hostel, of his dormitory, of the room given to him, before he comes and meets people in whatever dress and whatever other external marks, in his quarters, from the time he got up 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., 6 a.m. or whatever, 1 hour or 3 hours he had, what did he do? And before he went to bed last night, 2 or 3 hours, what did he do? Did he go on reading some newspaper and look at the latest political news? Or did he, before hitting the bed, sit and do some namasmarana? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Or did he do some Guru Smarana? Ramakrishna, Ramana, Vivekananda, Chinmayananda, some Guru Smarana. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. In this way, he did, even if it is just one mala, 108 times. And then he slept off. That is Sanmarga. What kind of books he wrote, what kind of lectures he gave, how many countries he went, how many devotees he had, those are all secondary. At best, they could be further expressions of his living in Sanmarga. Sanmargasthanam sadhunam rakshanaya dushkratam papakarinam vinashaya. All that boils down to dharma samsthapanarthaya. Dharmasya samyak sthapanam. So sthapana itself is to establish. Sthapana is the causal nijanta of sthanam. A pole stands. Stambha tishtati. You make the pole stand. That is stamba sthapanam. Tvam stambam sthapayasi. Therefore, tishtati is the primary verb. Sthapayati is the causal, preranarthaka or nijanta. Kana khilana. Pina, pilana. Like that, खड़े होना और उसको खड़ा करना, स्थापना. So avatars come to ensure that dharma stands on two legs, erect and straight and chest up. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Shankara says, prati yugam, in every time period, whatever may literally mean the Dwapara Yoga, Kali Yoga, Treta Yoga, Satya Yoga, Krita Yoga, etc. But that's too long a period. In a single Yuga also, Lord appears on many occasions. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.